Yeah?
Yeah.
Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. Do you want to go then?
Sure, that's fine. I have played the first few chapters of the single player and a good few games of the multiplayer, so I didn't feel like I was in a position to really give judgments on the game. I must say that what I played of the single player made me feel a bit sleepy. I love Kevin Spacey, so anytime he was on screen I was enjoying it because he's basically playing Frank Underwood from House of Cards, but a more action movie version of him. So I'm
pantomime, you might say.
Pantomime version of him's fine, but Frank Underwood's pretty pantomime anyway. I don't know if you've seen House of Cards.
I have, but I mean, I suppose you've only just played a few missions, so Kevin Spacey hasn't brought out the ham yet, because believe you me, he brings out the ham. And
that's fine, though. That's fine. I've got no problem with that.
I have no problem with it.
Yeah.
It's just, well, I'll talk about it.
Yeah, for sure. It was kind of sending me to sleep a little bit. The mission that I got to is the one where you're jumping across cars on the highway. Very, very cool spectacle, but the gameplay. I mean, it was not a game. You're just pressing a button. Yeah. So and the shooting snappy and all that sort of stuff. I'll continue. I'm enjoying it. I'm very tired today. I'm very sleepy, so that doesn't help. It felt like I would enjoy this way more if I was about 2 to 3 beers in. I think I would be having quite a lot of fun if I was slightly drunk and just switched my brain off and was playing it nice and loud rather than sort of trying to keep my eyes open. Anyway, but switched to the multiplayer and just loved it pretty much straight away. I played it at Gamescom, and obviously you now have the exosuit, which allows you to double jump and sort of swoosh left and right like kind of like a Titan in Titanfall. That stuff was really heavy in the Gamescom build that I played. It was incredibly loud when you did the double jump, and it shook the screen, and it was really off-putting. And there was a delay in the dash stuff. That all that stuff smoothed out loads in the final version, and it just felt like somewhere between Call of Duty and a bit of Halo, tiny bit of Titanfall, really crisp, sharp. It's doing quite well from the off. The amount of unlocks and stuff was utterly baffling, so I couldn't even get my head around all of that stuff. This huge screen with like a million options that none of it made much sense. But that's kind of where I am at the moment. I haven't played a great deal. I mean, technically, like Pairs, Destiny, I played Falling Skies at MXDTV. I've actually technically played those games this week way more than COD, but it just made sense to do it like this. But I think you're the man to really talk us through it because you play so much more.
I've done loads of multiplayer and I finished the campaign. I am very much baffled by the positive reception that there's been to the campaign, because I think this is tied with Call of Duty 3 for the weakest Call of Duty campaign ever.
Wow.
And that means that I preferred Call of Duty Ghosts, and I really did. People, many of whom admit freely that they don't actually play these games, make cracks every year about how these games are on rails. And they are hugely linear, but the best ones do some pretty cool things within that framework. And this is the most linear campaign imaginable. What's really weird about that is that the multiplayer is so excellent and it feels so fresh that the fact that the campaign isn't used as a training ground for multi is just, very, very odd. The plot is less interesting than it's ever been. Nobody ever plays these games for the story, but here's the story. There's a bad guy. That's it. That's the plot. Kevin Spacey was interviewed in The Guardian this week, and he sounded kind of happy, like enthusiastic even, about being a part of this. And I've got to believe that he did that through gritted teeth, because he's a man known and renowned for his love and understanding of good drama. And his character in this goes from being a sort of kind of eager to please, grieving father figure type to Dr. Evil in about an hour. And the scene where he's standing in front of the UN Security Council is pure pantomime. I mean, that's just, I was laughing at that bit. And it's I'm with you. That's totally fine. My problem with Advanced Warfare is that it falls between two stools. It's kind of not quite a hark back to the serious and very, very harsh Modern Warfare 1, but it's never as amped up and stupid as the more recent Call of Duties. It's just stupid but serious, and that's not a really great combination. Even Ghosts, which was really dour and serious for 90% of its running time, rewarded everyone at the end with that bit where you were literally floating around in space shooting at AK-47 wielding astronauts.
Yeah.
Advanced Warfare has nothing that wacky, nothing that stupid, and nothing that enjoyable, I have to say. I think there are two good bits. There's a bit where you're led around the Atlas HQ with Kevin Spacey. That's really dazzling. It really feels like it's ripped out of a movie, and it feels like proper next gen. I played on Xbox One. And then there's the bit on the freeway, which not original, not brilliant or anything, but well structured, and offers up some spectacle that isn't elsewhere in the campaign. But it's the lack of flexibility that's just completely crippling. You walk somewhere, you shoot some guys, you press X to do some kind of superhero maneuver, whether it's use a grappling hook or deploy a cloak or whatever. You have to follow that. Experimentation is just not allowed. And the exosuit is so good in multiplayer, and you're allowed to experiment with all sorts of different tricks and kits. And in the campaign, you can't change them. The suit capabilities are locked to each specific level. So if you think, oh, maybe I'll try it with it, you can't. The option's not there. And oftentimes those exosuit abilities don't even work unless you're specifically told to use them. Because, for example, there was a fairly wide open bit where I took out some snipers who were like on the second floor, and I thought, oh, I'll use my boost jump to get up there, use their spots, and take out a few guys. But you can't. Invisible walls there.
Yeah.
When you're shown at the beginning that you can take out drone swarms with your EMP grenades, one of the first times you encounter drones, it's a scripted swarm. So I was throwing my EMP grenades at them, and they did nothing. I was like, why have I just been told how to do something? And then a real mystery. The grappling hook is a deadly weapon, but you have no choice but to wait for this big button prompt to come up. I don't get it. It's the most conservative, least challenging, and just least imaginative Call of Duty campaign imaginable. Every environment in the game looks like either a holiday resort or a Bond villain's lair. It's just boring. Everything, the jet plane bit, there's always a bit where you're flying something. It's far less good than the one in Call of Duty Ghosts. And the coolest thing in the game are the threat grenades. I assume you use those quite early. Yeah, so you toss one into a crowd and enemies showing up in blinding red, even through cover. I mean, they're ridiculous things, but it makes the combat more interesting and it just looks cool. But I think in an attempt, I suspect, to get people to use those grenades, there's almost nothing to differentiate between the enemies you're shooting at and the guys you're fighting alongside. Everyone is just wearing black combat gear. So when I was running out of those threat grenades in a couple of there's an interminable bit on a bridge that just seems to go on forever. But once I run out of those grenades, I'd have to aim down the sights at everyone just in case I shot one of my own guys. Because their names don't automatically show up anymore like they did in the old COD games. You have to look at them for like a half second and then they flash up in green. It says who they are. But yeah, I was really underwhelmed by the COD game. I like these games every year. I've played every single one on or before launch day every year for since Call of Duty 2. But this is up there with the weakest, and that's a real shame. But the multiplayer is so good that it saves the package and makes it worthwhile on its own. It feels play tested in ways that past COD games haven't. I mean, they're doctored and tinkered with all year round, but it's been a long time since the first Black Ops, where I put the disc in and thought, this feels like it just feels play tested in ways that something like Titanfall did. And for all of the things that it steals, it still feels like Call of Duty. And yeah, I love it. Once you find your exosuit perk, you're laughing, because you can have like a stim, which is very similar to the one you have in Titanfall. You can have a cloak, which I suppose you'd probably say is perhaps a nod to Crysis, or also Titanfall as well. But the exosuit perk that really did me proud was the shield that you have, the instantly deployable shield, because I'm not as quick on the draw as I used to be, so I was just getting massacred. But now you whip the shield up, take a clip, drop it, shoot the guy. The Pick 13 system is sort of borrowed from the Pick 10 in Black Ops 2. It's so much more flexible. I mean, you can literally ditch all of one thing. You can have, you can fill up on perks, or you can completely ditch. Oh, it's really flexible. At first, you think that there's too much scope here for it to be exploited, but after a few hours, I was just like, I think they've really nailed this. It's really good, and uplink mode is unbelievably good. I take it you didn't get a chance to do that?
I have played uplink mode in the Gamescom. Yeah, we had a good few games of that, so it's worth explaining what it is.
Well, I suppose you just call it a basketball sort of variant, maybe.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of Oddball a little bit in that the ball's a deadly weapon, but the pace of it and the teamwork required. I don't know how really hardcore COD players are going to get into this, because you can always be a lone wolf in Call of Duty. That's part of the appeal for some people. But in this, it's literally you press left trigger, you'll fling it to another player in view, and you press right trigger and you throw it into like basically a basket on either end. But the pace of the game is, it's hilarious, and it's really, it's one of the best game modes they've ever brought to a COD game, I think.
Yeah. I loved what I played at that. We were playing against a team of like pro players, so we were getting massacred. But just grabbing the ball. I love the thing you can. An enemy approaches, you chuck the ball at the enemy. They can't help but catch it, and you shoot them in the head and grab the ball again. That's pretty much consistently hilarious. Yeah. And then you can like dunk it for 2 points or throw it through for 1, or is it the other way around?
I think I'm pretty sure you throw it, you get more.
I think that's right. Actually, yeah. Seemed like it was just right for tournament play, but it's not right for esports because it's probably not precise enough. Which is a shame. But I love that mode. I thought it was great. Even the brief amount that I played, so I'm looking forward to playing more of that. Literally the multi. I kind of liked when I played it at Gamescom, but it didn't feel that nice. What I played today felt just really, really good. Like I could actually see myself getting into it. It was fun, and it brought back memories of playing Black Ops, and that was really. I played a bit of Black Ops too, but the first Black Ops was the one that really. We've talked about this plenty. That really hooked us all in our group, and it is fun to shoot people in Call of Duty. It just is. It always has been. People love it. There's a reason for that, and I was enjoying it more so than in ages. Like scooting out round the corner, jumping up. But there's just it's not as good as Titanfall, but what is?